Hi everybody. I'm recording another snow day yoga practice and I'm going to try to be a little bit more organized about the way that I record these things so that you know what you're getting into once you start. So the goal for this practice is for it to be about 20 minutes long, but also for it to be something that if when you finish it and you'd like to carry on and practice longer, you can hit refresh and cycle through the sequence of postures one more time and feel the benefits even further. So without further ado, crawl onto our hands and knees and rock through cat-cow. Inhaling and lengthening the spine, exhaling and flexing it. Closing your eyes, even though I know I'm on your screen right now, close your own eyes and see if you can feel more than you see. Even what you see in your mind's eye, that you can just allow yourself to feel from the center of your pelvis right up to the base of your skull, how these articulations of your spine distribute themselves evenly throughout the whole length of your spine. One of the next times that you breathe in, pause and take downward facing dog. And once you find your way to downward facing dog, keep your knees bent, stretch your pelvis back and up. Cast your hands out from your arms, relax your neck, hug your ribs, flush against your torso, and take a nice big deep breath. And then look up in between your hands where you want to step your left foot. Relax your right knee down onto the ground and take a couple of breaths with your hands on the ground. And then take your left hand onto your thigh and sweep your right hand up into the air. Relax into the sole of your left foot. Let your pelvis sink forward and down. And on an exhale, bring your right hand back down to the ground. Tuck your back toes, press your legs straight, and press into your left thigh to twist to the left, stretching your arm up into the air. On an exhale, release, looking down, stepping back to plank, and then relaxing both your knees down to the ground, stretch back into child's pose. Use an inhalation to glide forward onto your hands and knees and into a variation of upward facing dog that keeps your knees on the ground and the crown of your head, again, this length that you find, evenly distributed up your spine from your sacrum to the base of your skull. Exhaling, there's a little hug of the front side of your core, back onto your hands and knees, downward facing dog. And then we'll look between the hands again and step the left or the right foot up in between. Relax the left knee down and sink into this lunge for the first few breaths. And then the right hand can travel to the right thigh. Plenty of support there. Sweep the left hand up. Stretch up and down the front of the left side of the body. Relaxing the right foot will help the pelvis sink down and forward. Wait for an exhale to release your left hand down. Tuck your back toes. Press that leg straight and press straight down into your right thigh to twist, extending your arm up into the air. You can look up at your hand or you can look down at the ground, whatever's more comfortable for your neck. Take one more breath in and on the exhale, releasing. Again, plank pose. Let the knees relax down, stretch back. Child's pose. And wait for an inhale to glide forward, upward facing dog. Knees can stay on the ground or you can press the tops of your feet down with a little more energy to lift your knees off. If you're on your knees, exhale back to all fours and then downward facing dog. If you're on your feet, roll over your toes and take downward facing dog. Wonderful. And we'll look forward between the hands again. Step the left foot there. Relax the right knee down. And this time, bringing the left hand right onto the thigh, sweep the right hand up. Big breath to stretch across the right side of the body, and twisting to the left, we'll tuck the elbow to the outside of the thigh this time. Plant the palms together. See if you can get your forearms perpendicular to the ground, the tip of that left elbow pointing straight up toward the ceiling. Tuck your right toes and start to send some energy through the heel and through the crown of the head. Gaze again can be down at the ground or over to the left. Press your palms together, just as much up as you're pressing down. And see if you can allow that even counter pressure to bring your heart closer to your thumbs. Wonderful. Releasing on an exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. We'll move right into the second side. The right foot can step up in between the hands. Relax the knee down. Right hand to the thigh, sweep the left hand up. Just moving through these transitions as smooth and fluidly as you can. Creating space on inhalations, occupying that space on exhalations. Plant the palms together, tuck the toes, press the knees straight. Nice. Gaze wherever you like. Feeling that the pressure between your palms is even, both down and up, and that your heart is coming closer to your thumbs with every cycle of breath. Releasing on an exhale. And this time we'll cycle through that vinyasa variation. Child's pose, if you'd like to take a different style of vinyasa, of course you're more than welcome. Inhaling to bring yourself forward and up into upward facing dog, either with the knees up for extra support or on the tops of the feet. Crown of the head rising. Exhaling to release. Downward facing dog. Wonderful. Now we'll step the right foot just maybe 5 or 6 inches forward and the left foot up in between the hands. Pyramid pose. Scoot back a little bit so I'm within the frame. Hands are framing the left foot and the left sitting bone's pushing back. Front of the right hip's trying to face the ground. So we're going to revolve a triangle first. So even with this left leg forward, we're going to twist to the left. You can keep your right hand on the ground. If the ground's too far away, you can take your hand to your shin or your ankle or maybe a yoga block. And then take your left hand either onto your sacrum, tip of the elbow pointing straight up, or up into the air. Wonderful. And we'll twist the other direction, just the upper spine, without moving the pelvis. Just move the hands, the shoulders, the ribs, and the thoracic spine. Left sitting bone is still pushing back. Front of the right hip is still facing the ground. Wonderful. On an exhale, release that right hand. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Walk your feet back. Maybe walk out your heels. For the second side, the left foot will step forward 5 or 6 inches. Right foot up in between the hands. Take some time here in pyramid pose to press your right sitting bone back, which rotates the front of your left hip to face the ground. Pelvis is in place, and the left hand will travel onto the top of the right foot, or somewhere onto the ankle or the shin or onto a yoga block. And the right hand will come to the sacrum, or right up into the air. And then we'll release and switch to the triangle the other direction, just the upper spine twisting. Take your time. Left hand can come to the sacrum or extend that arm up into the air. Wonderful. Release on an exhale. Step back, downward facing dog. Gliding forward into plank. And this time lowering all the way down to the ground, like a plank, either from your feet or from your knees. Lower down like a reverse push-up, everything touching the ground at once. I'm going to slide back into the frame like an inchworm. And gliding forward with the crown of your head leading, chin following, and then rising up. I'm going to just hold cobra for a bit, trying to press the tops of my feet into the ground more than I use my hands. And just holding here in a sustainable posture. Obviously I can talk while I'm here, and I'm trying to imagine that the length of my spine is just evenly distributing all the way up from the center of my pelvis to the base of my skull. Reconnect with my feet into the ground, feel my quadriceps hugging right up. Exhaling to release. And pressing back up like that push-up from your feet or from your knees. And then downward facing dog. Wonderful. So the next posture that we're going to take is lying down in order to keep this at 20 minutes. Find a blanket or a towel. I should have said that in the beginning. We'll roll it up. You could also just roll up your yoga mat right now so that it's about this big around, and lying down with that roll underneath the upper part, the middle part of your upper back. Interlace your fingers at the base of your skull, knees are bent, and you're holding your head up off the ground, trying to relax as much of the weight of your upper back as you can into the pressure of the rolled up blanket or yoga mat or towel underneath you. Spending about a minute here, about 8 or 10 or maybe 12 breaths, maybe less. Front ribs are exhaling down in the direction of my hip creases. I'm imagining the top of my head extending toward the space behind me, just ever so slightly, almost like a gentle magnetic pull toward the space behind me with the crown of my head. And my upper back again tries to just stay soft with the pressure of this roll underneath it. Sometime over the next 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, I'll release down to the ground. Again, aware of my front ribs, how their tendency might be to flare up and out in order to compensate for this obstacle behind me. Try to keep a little bit of engagement on the front side of my core. The elbows open up once my knuckles touch the ground, and I'll take a leg straight. Push down with the other foot to roll in that direction. Keep the both the elbows on the ground. Slide my hips over toward my foot that's on the ground, and then I can take the arch of that foot, set it on my thigh, and twist even deeper. 3 or 4 or 5 breaths here. And then unwinding. If you feel as though you slid on the roll, if it's lower down your back than it was initially, you can bring yourself up. Wiggle just a bit, realign. Extend your upper back over the roll again until your knuckles come to the ground. Open your elbows and take the second side. Extend that opposite leg. Push down onto the ground first. Start rolling. Tuck your hips over toward the foot that's on the ground. Take the arch of that foot. Then when you're ready, onto your thigh and twist the other direction. The body stays long from that extend, all the way through that extended leg up to the crown of the head. And in the extension of your body, all the way through the central axis and the leg, but also the opening of your heart from the pressure on the back side of your body. And all the different variations of sensation that we find here, we try to just respond to as softly as we can. Wonderful. From here we unwind and we'll release the hands, realign the hips and just roll off of the blanket or towel. Press ourselves up and rock through cat-cow. And it's here where you can decide whether you'd like to just press refresh and start this video again, or whether you'd like to roll it back onto your back and lay down for Shavasana. Either way, namaste. Thanks for watching.